It's because I screwed up on that one piece. It's another day here at Freeman's garage working on the abandoned 1956 Tri-5 Chevy. We're gonna measure twice, cut, bend, and flare brand new brake lines for the rear of the car. And we got the surprise I promised you, which I hope you like because I kind of made a big deal out of it. There's all our handiwork from the last time we worked on the car when we bent up new brake lines for the front and we upgraded to the dual circuit Camaro master cylinder. Basically, we need to take this roll of steel line and bend it and shape it to get it to go from here to the back of the car. But how do we want to do it? That's the question. If we don't think it through, we screw it up and we run out of line, we're going to have to finish this on another day, and I'm going to have to spend more of me pennies. I naturally want to run it down the driver's side, but the factory ran it down the passenger side. But they did that because the factory single circuit master cylinder only had one line coming off of it, and they had to make a loop over to the passenger side to get to the right front brake anyways. So you might as well run the brake line to the rear in the same clamps as the fuel line, which is on the passenger side because the fuel pump is on the passenger side. And it keeps everything neat and tidy over there all in one spot and away from the exhaust, which is always going to be on the driver's side. But because we're making our own exhaust and we got two separate circuits, we can get away with running it down the driver's side. Except for when they have the factory brake line get to the rear and then hop over the frame. There's this awesome bracket where the steel line meets the rubber hose, and then on the rear axle housing where the rubber hose, get some zoomage action, where the rubber hose meets the steel lines that split out to each end, there's a union mounted on a bracket. So I'm laying here looking at this, and the thing is, those brackets are on the passenger side, so it would be nice to run it down the passenger side and use those brackets, but we could cut, grind, and weld to... What's going on? Wind's blowing the door. To move those brackets to the driver's side, but is it going to be worth it? We're trying to simplify things by running it down the driver's side and save 5 feet of brake line. It would reduce the number of bends we'd have to make, but then it would add time on by having to fab brackets. The interesting thing is, if you jump up 11 years from this car to 1967, the year of the C10 that you've seen here in Freeman's garage, the feds made dual circuit brake systems mandatory, and GM still ran a line all the way around the front and down the passenger side for the rear brakes. I wonder if we have enough to go around the front and down the passenger side. Because remember, we got to get to the rear and then we got to go from wheel cylinder to wheel cylinder across the axle housing. If we got enough line to go down the passenger side, that's what we're going to do. We at least have enough to do from the front to the rear axle. We might have enough left over after that to go across the axle. It's going to be close. So yep, passenger side, we're doing it. Let's start with the longest piece first. Mother Hubbard's cupboard. There's brake fluid in this line. I'm really going to miss the baling wire hose support. You know what? I'm going to put it back on the brand new hose just to keep the 1970s high school auto shop spirit alive on this car. Oh, come on. Quit being so uptight. Oh, there's a hidden clip on top of the frame rail. The last one. Trying to pry the clip open. I can't see what I'm doing. Gotta break out this chunk of seam sealer from somebody's old floor patch job. It's in the way of getting the line out. Can't ever have enough seam sealer. How the heck is this taking so long? It's been like a half an hour. Need a bigger screwdriver. It's about to come out now. I think. Oh! Was not expecting that much to come out. Probably 20-30 minutes and a huge mess because I just had to get it out in one piece, didn't I? If I told you that that was not a waste of time, I would be lying. I should have just cut, hacked, and ripped the old one out in 32.25 seconds. If we can get this original metal loom, I guess you could call it, off of here, that protects the brake line from rubbing on the frame, we'll reuse it. I wonder if we can go from the master cylinder around the front and all the way back to the rear axle in one giant piece. It's kind of not necessary because we could do more than one piece and just use a union to connect them together, but if we could do it in one piece, it would be pretty cool. So let's shove it down in here where that factory line was. It's a huge rock in here. Yeah, this car's never been hammered down a gravel road. Okay, so we've ran it back to here where the steel line meets the rubber hose. Let's go back up top and see what things look like. I think we're going to be able to do it, but we need to get this under the steering box without kinking it. There we go. I was able to bend this around without kinking it and get it underneath the steering box and underneath that bracket that union's bolted to, which it would have been a lot easier just to unbolt that bracket, but I get some sort of sick, weird satisfaction out of getting it done the hard way. And I want to go underneath this one too. That one we're going to have to unbolt to get the line underneath. You know, I don't know. What do you think? Do you think that's pretty cool to run the line underneath those brackets? I think it is. It'll keep things really tight, and then I think it'll look cool. Okay, I'm stuck here for just a second, just thinking what's the smartest way to do this here. Should we flare and bend from the rear to the front now? Or should we bend and tie in the line up at the front here first and then bend our way back? The choice that we make right here probably decides whether things are going to go smoothly or we're going to have a lot of pain and frustration. Not to mention ruining the line and having to start over. I'm not sure, but I think we just need to start bending too. It's only metal. We're ready to flare and make the final connection to the rubber hose that goes to the axle. But first, I want to see if we can't get this metal loom off. If we can get this off and slide it onto the new line, that'd be great. She's on here pretty good though. Rusted solid. I don't know if we're going to be able to get it off. Should have done that outside. Don't ask me how, but somehow I'm getting this apart. She took a little abuse to get her off that old line, but I was able to bend it all back into shape and sprayed some black primer on it. And another part saved from when the previous owner drove the car to high school in the 70s. Just a couple more hair-raising events to get through here that, if we screw up, could ruin everything. I'm gonna prop you up with this comically large screwdriver. And now let's put on our freshly painted spring. I mean, freshly restored spring. Yeah, I guess it is a spring. I guess springs are good at protecting brake line from chafing. If you know anything about chafing. Thought we had a bit of an issue here, but we were just caught on our baling wire. Our work light just took a dump. Okay, we got another light set up down here. It's like everywhere you turn, things just cost you money. I like where this is. I think we got that on far enough. There's one more clip though, up here on top of the frame rail that we need to get this into. Well, actually our baling wire's in the way. You probably can't even see this clip in here. It's too tight of a fit. I can't get the darn tootin' line in it, and I gotta get my kid from school soon, so we'll leave that and we'll get it into that clip when we take the body off the frame. We cannot forget to put this fitting on before we bend the line. So we're gonna make the cut. Well, actually, you know what? You don't need to remind me of anything. I'll just slip it on right now. If we screw this up, it's curtains. Okay, so the new hose is gonna be in like that. And then if we clipped it in, it looks like the end of the thread's in there. That's just about right here to that edge. I would say that if we just cut it right here where it meets that edge, I think we'll be good. Actually, I think I just caught myself about to do something dumb. We need to mark it, give ourselves an extra little bit to make up for the thickness of the die. And speaking of dies, I brought every single thing under here to do this, except for I did not grab, guess what? The die. So, crawl out, back in extra time. Alright, and we're back. You know, a guy named Chris once said, what did Chris say? I'm too young to feel this damn old. I got a lot of respect for you older fellers out there that are still active. I don't know how you do it. And I don't know why I put this brake hose up there. Actually, it was Garth that said I'm too young to feel this damn old. But in that song, he mentions Chris Ledoux. That's why I was thinking that. Boy, that's a song I haven't heard in a long time. Alright, this is it. I'm making the commitment. Right now, I'm prepared to be disappointed with myself. Alright, the single flare is done. And now it's time to do the double flare. This is where the money is here. The double flare is what allows you to have high pressure, like in a hydraulic braking system. Well, if that ain't the prettiest little flare I ever seen. Alright, it's time to see if all of this was a waste of time or not. Uh-oh. Uh-oh, this is not good. No, I'm just kidding. We just gotta squeeze her in a little bit. I hope. Come on, I know we got some room to wiggle. I guess my measurement in my work was just so precise that it's so precise, it's just really tight. There we go. I actually did get a little worried there myself. Oh yeah. I just noticed the bottom of the rear end says 55 in yellow paint marker. This must be a junkyard rear end from a 55. Keeping the glory days alive. That is awesome. We pulled it off in one piece. Comes down under the steering box, underneath that bracket for the union. Around here, underneath the bracket on that side. And then she comes through here just like the factory line, up and over. We'll have to figure out some sort of clamps to hold everything down and in place. But it's pretty sweet. You know what, dang it, we could have had the trunk floor open this whole time and had extra light. I was really going to lay on the floor back here if I didn't remember that we cut the trunk floor out. You know, sometimes I find myself in times of trouble and there will be an answer, so I just let it be. But sometimes I really wonder about myself. Kind of like how I wonder about my current haircut choice. We get to do a long one and a short one back here. I feel like doing the shorter one first. This is going to be a pretty simple one. I'll just pick an end and flare it and then go from there. Oh yeah, that looks good. But guess what? We're out of brake line. I need to go buy another roll so we can finish the job. It's because I screwed up on that one piece. Uh-oh. Okay, I have something to address. Waygonner has created something he calls the NASCAR Pit Challenge, and Freeman's garage is his first victim. He threw a tire on his Tri-5 and zipped on 5 lug nuts in 29 seconds. You just gotta do it as fast as you can while saying the word NASCAR throughout. And I think helmets are optional. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Ow. Ow, that hurt. Pinch my finger. How the heck do those NASCAR guys do it? Must be in great shape. Must work out. Oh no, in reverse! Forward, I'm supposed to call someone else up for the challenge now, so Break19 for the Texas Hillbilly. You got your ears on good, buddy? I'm calling him out because I figure if he's in Texas and I'm in Texas, then our garages gotta be within 800 miles from each other. Well, that's a fun way to introduce you to other channels that might have videos you'd like to watch and to help other channels grow their audience. And I get bonus points for using the 1970s Sears snow tire. Remember when we took this homemade panel out of the car and I was admiring the 1970s duct tape and we noticed that the 3 holes that are supposed to be in the panel are not present? Is there anything back here that's gonna kill me when I take this thing off? And when we looked at the back, I was thinking maybe they used the original cardboard from the original panel to build their new homemade panel on top, and that it was probably made in high school auto shop class by the guy that drove this car in high school in the 70s. Well, check this out. I was moving it and it peeled back a little bit. This car is a 1011A, which is a Club Coupe / Del Rey, and the standard color combination for the interior of that car is trim number 567, which is black and ivory. I haven't seen any more than you have, but let's do it. Is this the original Del Rey door card? It is. That is awesome. You don't get these kind of neat discoveries every single day. It's a moment to cherish. That's a wall hanger too, for sure. There's a panel on this door too that we need to uncover. Watch all the other videos about this car if you haven't seen them yet. They're amazing.